travel operators say they are desperate for more clarity from the government over the new holiday rules.
Well, cross-border Nick Dixon's in Benidorm. So, Nick, first of all, tell me about your trip there. How did you get to Benidorm? What is it like flying now? Did you fly? I mean, how did you get there?
Yeah, hi there. We did. We flew from Heathrow to Madrid, and then we drove down to Benidorm because there are, as you can imagine, seldom flights really on a Sunday. There's maybe one or two at the moment, and because of the restrictions being lifted on Friday, they were all snapped up. So we flew into Madrid. Now, the flight itself was very busy, so I think the first thing to say is there's no social distancing at all. I mean, I had two people.
Go back, Nick, if you don't mind. Let's go back to.
Yeah,
Nick, I want to go back to just at the airport. Was it Gatwick you were at? And what goes on in the airport now? I've got a vested interest because I'm hoping to get away at the end of this week. So what is the process like? You arrive at the airport, you have to wear a mask, then what happens?
I mean, the process hasn't really changed a great deal, to be honest. It was at Heathrow. As soon as you arrive into the airport, when you go into the terminal, you've got to put your mask on, and then you do your boarding pass, which generally you will do on your own. Though, interestingly, at Heathrow, we did actually have to do it manually with a member of staff, but they do encourage you to use the machines so there's no contact. You still got your mask on, you get your boarding pass, you will go through as normal, and then when they board the plane, they will do it in a slightly more staggered fashion. Again, when you're on the plane, everyone has to have their masks on. I noticed in the airport, people were slipping a little and the masks would come down if you're having a coffee or having a snack.
Are the restaurants and shops
plane, you've
open?
got to have it. No, there's a couple. I mean, I flew to Belfast about 2 weeks ago and there was literally 2 shops open in the entire terminal. There were maybe one extra shop that I could see and an extra coffee shop that was open, but otherwise it was maybe 2 or 3, maybe one duty-free shop, but I'd say about 80%, 90% of the shops are closed at the moment. It's quite a boring experience. Bring a book.
Boring, but probably a little bit safer. But the odd thing I find is the inconsistency of the rules. So, for instance, we went separately for haircuts at the weekend, and before we went into the hair salon, we were given masks, gloves, and our temperature was taken. But you're getting on a plane. I mean, that's just to go into a hair salon where the hairdressers are wearing visors and there's quite extreme social distancing. But you're getting on a plane, but your temperature's not checked, right?
Correct. There's no temperature check when you depart. And actually, there's no temperature check, even though we were assured it would happen. There's no temperature check when you arrive in Madrid. I saw a couple of kids being checked, but none of the adults in the queue were checked at all. And also, what's really important to stress here, in amongst all of the quarantine exemptions, when you travel to Spain, for example, you absolutely have to fill in an online form. It's 4 or 5 pages long. It's essentially a health declaration. You have to do this, or they may refuse you entry into the country. Now, there is a grace period at the moment of a few weeks, but the staff told us yesterday, if you haven't done this in a few weeks or so, once this period is lifted, then they will have the right to refuse you entry. So you have to do this, and it's not really widely known. So you've got to do your research wherever you're traveling to at the moment, regardless of this government list.
And when you got on the plane, Nick, you just said there was no social distancing. It's impossible, I would have thought, on a plane. So did you feel, you were with your family, did you feel unsafe?
Not really. I mean, I was traveling with my colleague, Rav, and we knew what to expect. As I said, I was on a flight a couple of weeks ago. It was pretty busy going to Belfast. It was probably 95% full, this flight to Madrid yesterday, so I kind of expected it. I mean, I was a little uncomfortable the first time that I travelled a couple of weeks ago, but I knew what I was getting into, and I think as soon as you get into the airport and you get to your gate, you'd see how busy it was, and as I say, social distancing is really out the window.
And do you get any food and drink on the flight or not?
Expectation.
You
do. You get a polythene bag with a bottle of water, a packet of crisps, and a biscuit in it, and that's it really. There's no alcohol served, Piers, if that's what you're wondering.
Well, I just find the whole thing fascinating about what the experience is like. When you got to Benidorm, are most of the shops, the restaurants, the beaches, is everything sort of open as normal, or what's it like?
It's getting to that stage, not everything. The cafes and the bars are starting to reopen. Some of them opened over the last few days. A lot of them have had to close permanently, unfortunately. The shops are opening up as well. You have to wear a mask really at all times when you're wandering around here. The beach is the only exception, actually. You don't have to wear a mask when you're inside restaurants, cafes and bars, but when you're walking around, when you're in public spaces, you do have to wear them. The exception is the beach, interestingly, because they have these markers down here, these zones on the beach where you can social distance. Only 4 people are allowed in there. So you have to wear your mask when you walk onto the beach, but once you get onto the beach, you can take it off if you're in that social distancing zone. Yep. It is quite bizarre, and you've got to be very careful, actually, because you will be fined if you don't follow the rules.
And are weird things happening to people's feet, Nick?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Really? I don't think they are.
No one's having their nails painted, for example, when they shouldn't be?
Look, lockdown was tough on all of us, Piers. Let's not make any judgments about this.
You have to keep the
nice
children occupied somehow.
Very fetching little toes. I think, was it your daughter did that? Am I right in thinking?
I think it was both of them, actually. I think they were taking turns. It was a particularly quiet day. I think it was raining.
Listen, what goes on in your private life is your business, Nick.
Yeah, until we expose
However
it on
twisted and weird
television.
it may seem to the rest of us, if you want to wear painted toenails, you know what? It's a pandemic. You do what you like, mate.
Yeah, I'm cool with it, if you are.
Well, enjoy your time in Benidorm. And I expect your family are very jealous. Piers just said you went with your family.
Yeah, I did.
And you said, no, I went
well,
with
in a way, Rav is family for you
operator.
guys, isn't he? Because you spend more time with them than you do your families. So it wasn't completely wrong.
I don't think there is any jealousy because, in all honesty, not that many people I talk to really want to travel at the moment, especially when I tell them about how busy the flight was and, you know, wearing a mask constantly. You know, doesn't feel much like a holiday, really.
Except you're there on the beach in the sunshine.
There he is in very warm, early morning sunshine on the beach.
Why would anyone want to be
literally
in Spain?
wanting us to feel sorry for him. Shut up, Dixon.
I'm just explaining the reality of the situation. And to be fair, there was quite a gentle breeze earlier. It was a bit uncomfortable, but it's a bit better now.
Better get a sweater on.
You know what? I'm sorry, I can't wait to get away, honestly. And I know a lot of people won't feel that way, but I just can't wait. I do want to do it safely. I just can't wait to get away.